Pixelmon, a mashup between two of the world's greatest. Okay, we've been over this before. Pixelmon. I love this mod, and after months of waiting, I finally survived 200 days in Pixelmon as a server owner. I know, no need for an applause. Some things may be confusing in this video without watching the first 100 days video, so go check that out. That video will be linked in the description below. Once again, I'm recording this gameplay on the PokeGalaxy server on my Pixelmon server, play.pokesaga.org. Come join in the fun and experience the best Pixelmon server ever. Now what are we waiting for? Let's get straight into it. Wow, it feels like forever since I've seen this server. The spawn area is just as majestic, just as welcoming. Oh, and my house! It's just as I left it all those days ago. But now I hate it. It's dingy and totally not what a server owner should be living in. Before I can do anything, I need to upgrade. I flew around in search of my new base, flying through thousands of chunks before I stumbled across this. An ocean! Yeah, I'm not sure what I was thinking with this one, but I promise you it works out. Starting with wood, I started chopping and collecting resources to build my new base. I needed tons of cobblestone since this was going to be much bigger than my old base. Oh, but Momo, what are you planning on building in an ocean biome? Floating islands? What screams rich and powerful than something that's physically impossible? I just had to build it by hand, which was a little tedious. The first island took me quite a while to build up because I had to wait for the cobblestone to smelt. By the end of day 4, I had the base island set up, and now it was time for the house. When I originally thought of the floating island house, I had no idea what type of house I would place on top. But it certainly clicked with me as I built up the foundations. I wanted a wizard's tower. This was of course to see the far lands of my server. But of course, I had to build it by hand, which was very annoying. Thank goodness I have /fly, else this would have taken so much longer. I finished building up the foundation, then the walls, and it was looking really good. Boost always looks good anyways. All I had to do now was finish the roof, which was a pain. Do you know how difficult it is to build a circular pointy roof? I spent an embarrassingly long time on the roof, and by the start of day 8 I was finally done with the main portion of my new base. Do you like the diamonds in the stone? I thought it added some powerful vibes. Day 10, I had moved all of my items into storage and decorated my house. I think it looks really nice now. The majority of these next 10 days was me catching Pokemon for my decks and harvesting apricots for the Pokeballs. I caught plenty of Pokemon and even managed to get 10% decks. However, I was sick of running around harvesting wild berries and apricots and needed a more permanent setup for my base. So I started construction on a new island to house my berries. It's similar in shape to my main base, just without the huge wizard tower on top. Obviously, I put diamonds into the stone once again, because we're rich up here. Remember, I'm a server owner. I tilted the soil and planted some EV reducing berries so I can better specialize my Pokemon. I had a similar setup at my last base, but this looks way better aesthetically. The apricots needed a permanent home too, so I started building a third island just below my main island to house my apricots. I planted blue, black, and yellow apricots so I can make ultra balls and crick balls for personal use. This base looks awesome. I finished off these next 10 days catching more Pokemon and returning at the end of the day to store my items. My catching and harvesting led into day 21, and as I hopped around my base, an event poll was started. I knew I had to vote for some fun events. There were so many options like Snake, Mobhead, Spleef, PvP, but I voted for Aircore, One in the Critter, and my personal favorite, Paintball. Thankfully, one of my choices won, Aircore. However, what I forgot was that I was terrible at parkour, and I mean terrible. Aircore is a branch off of parkour, where you have to climb and weave your way up to the top platform to win. There were so many people, it was literally intimidating. But I forgot, I'm a server owner. The first round had started, and it was not going well. I fell, and fell, and fell some more. Did I mention I'd fallen? Oops, there we go again. I could not even manage to get up to at least the middle before someone won. The second round started off a little stronger. I had only fallen a few times and got up rather high, until I fell, made my way back up, and fell again. I was getting really frustrated and someone beat me to the top again. The third round I felt defeated and I sat in the corner soaking until the round ended. To distract myself from the pain in my heart, I travelled to the safari zone. If you had watched my previous 100-day video, please do, it's super cool. You would know what this place is. The safari is an exclusive zone for veterans and donors to find rare Pokemon for their collections. Tons of cool Pokemon spawn in these mini biomes, and it's a great place to go for dex rewards or to find those stubborn starter Pokemon. I remember being super excited to catch this Vulpix, and this is the wind-up too. I spent a lot of time in the safari and I caught myself some interesting Pokemon, and wasted a few Master Balls getting a little frustrated. Stay in the stupid Pokeball! Ugh, this Phantom is going to drive me insane. Eventually I had to do the safari on day 28 to buy some Pokeballs, and I got distracted with harvesting apricots and berries again. For such a small task, it's really easy to lose time just hopping around finding them. I'm tabbed out responding to Discord messages when I see this message in chat. A Zacian spawned in a forest biome. I knew I had to look around since I can't pass up this super lucky opportunity. There were so many players online and I had no idea if it had even spawned near me. I was scrambling around the forest like mad, and there it was, a Zacian. Without missing a beat, I tossed my Master Ball and finally caught my own Zacian. I left it sitting in my PC for a while as I finished up my final task for these 10 days. I was collecting some wood for a Nexus that I wanted to build. If you guys didn't know, a Nexus is a player made shop, and as I was mining some nearby Endersite, I heard the small cry of a Pikachu. Climbing out of the cave, I find a Pikachu, and it's shiny. Wow, this is my first shiny of these 100 days and it's a rare spawn. My luck is through the roof right now. Of course I finished collecting resources and started building up my Nexus. I wanted it close to my house, so I built along the beach on the island just below. I built out a dock of area of spruce and built dark oak log pillars to extend down to the safe floor. It was looking a little basic, so I added a roof on top held up by fences and added a railing around the edges. I really like the look of this. Simple yet effective. During my resource collecting process, I leveled up my skills and received a skill key, which I took a small break to open. 1000 GP blocks. Yes then. You know what? I'm sick of building. A majority of these days just have been me building. I want to change in scenery. And so I started the storyline. Whoa, hold on, pause. What in the world is the storyline? Well, I'm glad you asked. The storyline is a brand new feature that was just released here on PokeSaga. It's filled with mystery challenges and legendary rewards. It literally transports you in a separate medieval world filled with cutscenes, quests, laws, and most importantly, rewards. Completing the storyline gives you rewards over time that you can use in the main portion of the server. The beautiful map has dozens of places to explore, so of course I had to jump into it. I spawned into the cave and ran immediately to the first NPC I saw. Looking around? Nah, that's not for cool people. The NPC introduced me to the Vale of the Dramberry, a harsh yet beautiful land. They told me to craft a wooden pickaxe, so I got straight to work punching away at the tree behind me. I got a little distracted and chopped a bit more wood than was needed, but that's alright, you know. I finished my pickaxe and spoke to the NPC once again. I want to go explore the Vale, but obviously this NPC has no idea what I'm capable of, because it said it was too dangerous and I had to prepare more. I was told to make cobblestone tools, so I did so, mining the stone that was all around us in this cave. I made my axe, shovel, and pickaxe and spoke to the NPC again. More running around, the NPC asked me to speak to the blacksmith. Of course I willingly walked over. Now he wants me to make iron tools, because apparently stone tools will get me nowhere in the Vale. Fine. I did mine the iron and crafted the iron pickaxe. Boom! Happy now, Mr. Smithman? Okay, this is the part that is really important to consider. What team I will be working with. If you want to be with a team that worships Zapdos, Articuno, or Moltres. I put my Pokemon away while I thought about this. Moltres, in its alternative form, a dark flying type. Zapdos, the gorgeous fighting flying type. Or Articuno, the graceful psychic flying type. So many options, I had to think carefully. Nah, it's Zapdos. It's Zapdos it is. I returned to the blacksmith, happy with my choice. He then asked me to gather some resources for some armor. So I set out to collect 20 rubies, 10 iron ingots, and 10 gold ingots. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I just had to swing my pickaxe a bit, do some parkour, get lost, and do some more parkour. There we go. I have everything I need. Okay, now he wants 20 coal, 15 lapis lazuli, and a bucket. An interesting set of items, but who am I to argue? I gathered the coal, mined the underwater lapis, and crafted the bucket. This was a workout, bro. Finally, all I need now is an iron sword to defend myself. I crafted my blade, returned to the blacksmith, and retrieved my armor. I felt so powerful in my beautiful and shiny new red armor. I left the storyline zone and continued to construct my Nexus. This time, setting up the shops where people could buy my items. I started selling monster spawners, ability capsules, master balls, tons of really useful items on hand that I knew I wouldn't use. Well, I knew I'd use some things, but I needed the money badly, okay? My shop felt a little empty. so I did a little bit of off-camera work. And no, I didn't do that. I'm not that much of a cheater. I did the chores around the house and decided that my next task was to conquer the battle frontier. It's a huge battleground filled with difficult trainers that you can defeat for rewards. Of course I wanted to do that next because it's all about the rewards. Also the build is amazing, so I spent an embarrassingly long time looking around it. Okay, enough distractions. I have to get my team ready for the battle frontier. You know what time it is? It's montage time. I spent a long time getting this team prepared, so it's already day 49. I finished with chores once again and traveled to the bottom frontier for day 50. Spawning onto the docks, I walked down to the beach and started battle with youngster James. And this kid immediately started the battle with a Primo Groudon. What? Obviously I had swapped into Primarina, and I managed to survive a Fire Blast after the switch. Primarina attempted to use Hydro Pump as well, and well, died from a solar beam to the face. Zacian next, I suppose. Zacian used Focus Blast, did some damage, and fainted because of the Fire Blast. Wow, this is not going well. I sent out my amazing Marshadow next and used Spectral Thief, and almost took Groudon down, but Marshadow died to Fire Blast. Mewtwo is next and barely survives a Fly Blast. I stupidly misclicked Low Kick. Zen Headbutt finally took down the Groudon, but suddenly youngster James sent out an Arceus. What? The Arceus wiped my Mewtwo with extreme speed, and all I had left was my Tyranitar. I first swapped out for Primarina. Tyranitar managed to take down the Arceus, but then died to an Ultra Necrozma? This kid is no joke. Second battle against youngster Joey, and now that I know what to expect, it should go well, right? I sent out Primarina first to take care of the Groudon, but died to Earth Power. Anyways, Rayquaza's next, and after surviving a Fire Blast, it did some decent damage to the Groudon with Earthquake. The Groudon swapped out with Mewtwo and the Mewtwo tanked the Earthquake against it. Of course then Mewtwo Mega Evolved. I swapped in Marshadow. I thought I'd be outsped, but instead the Mewtwo slapped my Marshadow with a Side Strike. I should have bloody used Shadow Sneak. Zacian was sent out next to replace the Marshadow, and the Mewtwo swapped out with a Necrozma, Solgaleo Fusion, which of course became Ultra Necrozma. Zacian went down to Sunsteel Strike, and so did Tyranitar and Mewtwo. This youngster James kid is tough, and it's only meant to be the first NPC. How the heck am I meant to beat this? I proceeded to lose 2 more tabs without a chance at all, and got frustrated and decided to go harvest my berries and apricots to let off some steam. I had to make a new team, because my current one was not working out at all, so I organized my PC boxes to make way for my new team. Marshadow now made shiny, Groudon, Kyogre, Xerneas, Lopunny, and God, I do not know how to say this, Pykuruku? Maybe I can do better this time. Alright guys, you made it this far into the video. If you came from the PokeSaga Discord, you know there's a random word, which is a secret word throughout this video. The random word is Bob the Builder. So make sure to comment that if you guys see it, and one of you will win an Omega rank. Thank you guys for watching, and straight back to the video. Time to fight James once again. This time I lead with Marshadow, who was able to Shadow Sneak with a survived Fire Blast using his Focus Sash. The Groudon avoided a Rock Tomb and took my Marshadow out with a Solar Beam. Seriously? Alright, I swapped in Kyogre to take Marshadow's place. Kyogre tanked an Earth Power from Groudon and used Ice Beam to take off a decent amount of health. Groudon went down after another Ice Beam. Next into the fray was Galarian Darmanitan, which was an Ice type. Kyogre barely survived an Earthquake with 6 HP and slapped the Darmanitan with a Thunder. Yes, I can't say these Pokemon names, I know guys, I know. Arceus was my next threat and took Kyogre down with extreme speed. I replaced Kyogre with Xerneas, who used Thunder. It barely did any damage and Arceus got off a Sword Dance. Xerneas set up with Geomancy next, and Arceus slipped into the shadow with Shadow Force. Xerneas' attempt was in vain and it went down to Shadow Force. I swapped Groudon in and used Stone Egg. I should have used Precipitous Blaze to be honest with you. Arceus used Shadow Force again. This time I did attempt to use Precipitous Blaze but it missed, and Arceus landed Shadow Force. Lopunny was sent out and immediately died to an extreme speed. And I officially lost the battle after the Mewtwo could not withstand a Shadow Force. I lost another 2 times to youngster James before I finally was able to defeat him with sheer luck. In other words, I used pure Mewtwo to Toxic Stall the final Pokemon. The second NPC in my way was youngster Joe, and if I'm going to be honest with you, the battle was quick and I won on the first try. No, this is no joke either, I'm just that good. Let's get back into the good battle, shall we? The next NPC was youngster Alan. Hopefully this kid won't be as difficult as James. I led with Kyogre and Alan sent out Morgana. Original Post put a big damper on Morgana's health and he decided to set up with Shift Gear. Another Origin Post next took the Morgana down. With that, Alan sent out Rillaboom. I knew Rillaboom would kick Kyogre's butt, so I swapped into Groudon and took a Grassy Glide to the face and barely took damage. Another Grassy Glide next turn unfortunately took out my Groudon. I decided to send out Marshadow to deal with this Rillaboom, who was starting to cause some big problems. I used close combat on the Rillaboom and survived a hit with a Focus Sash. Spectral Thief the next turn wasn't enough to take out Rillaboom, and Marshadow went down to yet another Grassy Glide. Lopunny went into the battle next and obliterated the Rillaboom with the Ice Punch. Suddenly, I then sent out Lucario, which immediately Mega Evolved. Great! Kyogre is back on the field and dies almost immediately to close combat. Xerneas, can you finish this? No, Xerneas can't. It couldn't even manage a Geomancy and was blown off the battlefield with Meteor Mash. Pure Mewtwo has clutched me battles before, so let's see if this magic works again. Lucario switched out in favor of Pure Mewtwo and Kyogre took its place, just barely surviving a Thunder. Pure Mewtwo poisoned the Kyogre, but Protect could only stall for so long and Pure Mewtwo fainted. Want to guess how many times I failed fighting against Alan? Just that once actually, because the next fight I had swapped in Lopunny for Zacian, who managed to turn tails and sweep the Rillaboom before it could cause any issues. Now I could move on to NPC Gabe. I also won against this NPC first try, despite having a very powerful Scarf Negro's Solgaleo fusion. Day 70 was met with the most difficult challenge yet, NPC Bradley. This stupid youngster had a Mega Metagross, Arceus, Dragapult, and Cinderace. The Arceus was first up and I had to lead with the Groudon, immediately using Eruption. Groudon easily took down the Arceus down after surviving an easy hit from the Fire Blast. Wait, never mind, the Arceus survived on 1 HP. Are you serious? They withdrew the Arceus and swapped out Dragapult instead, which was a weird choice to be honest. Eruption did not do a lot of damage here. Groudon wasn't going to do a lot of damage, so instead I swapped in Xerneas and blocked the Dragon Meteor from connecting. Geomancy gave my Xerneas a huge stat increase while Bradley swapped into Cinderace. A double Moonblast easily took the Cinderace down without much worry. Metagross was sent out next and is in this mega form. This Pokemon is a bloody beast! It practically outspeeds my entire team and it is super bulky. Xerneas stood no chance and died to a Bullet Punch. I sent out Landorus to hopefully defeat the Metagross, and Earthquake brought it down to red health. Ice Punch OKO'd my Landorus and Marshadow was forced to Shadow Sneak to try and finish off the Metagross. However, the Metagross switched out for Tornadus. Tornadus was almost defeated by a Rock Tomb from Marshadow, but survived and knocked my Marshadow down to its Focus Sash within the Hurricane. Shadow Sneak finally took down my Tornadus. Metagross was sent out and Bullet Punched my Marshadow into the ground. I sent out Kyogre to try and finish the fight. Kyogre withstood an Earthquake and missed the Origin Pulse. Kyogre withstood an Earthquake and missed out the Origin Pulse. Another Earthquake left Kyogre on 2 HP, allowing the final Origin Pulse to take down the Metagross. Dragon Ball was sent out next and outsped my Kyogre and took it down with a fast U-turn. Arceus was brought back onto the field and I sent out my Groudon to take down Arceus once and for all with an Eruption. Tyranitar was sent out and defeated Groudon with an Earthquake, not before taking heavy damage from Precipice Blades. It was Pure Mewtwo against the world. Dragon Ball swapped into Pure Mewtwo and was immediately poisoned, and Pure Mewtwo managed to stall with Protect until the Dragon Ball fainted. Tyranitar was almost dead already, but was too much for poor Pure Mewtwo and was taken down with a final Stone Edge. If you didn't notice, Tyranitar fainted at the same time as Pure Mewtwo, so technically I had won. Oh, event! Awesome, I love doing events. Parkour? Well, at least it isn't Echo. Maybe I'll actually be able to win this time. That was a false hope. I didn't win. I didn't even make it close to the end once. Just look at this footage. Yeah, does that look like a winning player to you? Definitely not to me, so let's just... not watch that anymore. You know, I may or may not have lied to you. I'm irritated as Frontier on Parkour that I need something to do. After I beat Bradley, the next NPC was Youngster John. I lost against John twice and finally won. This is how I did it. I started with Zacian and was absolutely wrecked by the Mega Rayquaza. I switched to Marshadow and used Spectral Thief to try take it down. And used my Focus Sash to survive the hit and finally take it down to another Spectral Thief the following turn. I used Shadow Sneak to do some damage to Pheromosa. The Pheromosa used U-turn and swapped out with Groudon to fight the Ferrophone. Eruption ended the Ferrophone very fast and Youngster John sent up Pheromosa again. Groudon used Eruption again and Pharaoh went down. Kyogre was sent out next by my enemy and Groudon went down to an Ice Beam from Kyogre. I chose my own Kyogre to go against John's, but mine was Primo, which makes it automatically 10 times cooler and 10 times better. My Kyogre withstood an Ice Beam from the enemy and I slapped into the ground with 2 Thunders. Morgana was sent out next and my Kyogre went down to Morgana's Flurry Cannon. I chose to send out Landorus Landorus and used Earthquake, which took down Morgana and ended the battle with my victory. They took forever. Next trainer, Youngster Joey, eh? Easy enough. It was not easy, I lost very fast. I could not handle the Mega or a Dactyl with a dual wing beat, but I had some strategy in mind. It was such a close battle. I finally scraped by a win after a long time of strategizing and plotting my every position, and my footage was corrupted. I can't go a single Pixelmon video without losing some footage, can't I? This sucks. Fine, next trainer after I finish fixing my recording software. Neilio? A battler? New titles for newer and stronger enemies. Perfect. Our battle will be legendary. I led with Groudon and Neilian led with Tapu Koko. Koko used hidden power and did a good chunk of my Groudon's health. Precipitous Blade with Groudon totally wiped the floor with Koko. Alolan Raichu was next and wow! Psychic from Raichu totally destroyed my Groudon. That hurt. I decided to send out Landorus and use Earthquake to take down Raichu, but Landorus barely survived the slap from Psychic at 43 HP. Skizzer was next, and they began to Mega Evolve. My Groudon was already fainted and now I was starting to get nervous. I chose to use the Earthquake again, but Landorus stood no chance to Bullet Point, a priority move that always goes first. A priority move that always goes first. Next Pokemon, Marshadow. I started with Spectral Speed to try and take down the Skizzer, but it barely did anything. Skizzer used Dual Wing Beat and cancelled out my focus, taking my Marshadow down. I chose Kyogre to replace Marshadow and use Origin Pulse. Skizzer finally fainted and out came my Holucha. Kyogre was not strong enough to withstand a close combat from the Holucha and fainted. This battle is not going well. Can I just barely scrape by? I managed to set up as the Holucha switched out into Zeraora. Moonblast one-shotted Zeraora and Holucha came right back into fray. Another Moonblast and miraculously Holucha also went down. Pincochin versus Xerneas. Who will win? Xerneas. Xerneas won. Pincochin went down to a final Moonblast, winning me the battle. The next trainer was Isso. Another battler. These are starting to get really tough now. I did not expect the first few NPCs saw that many strong legendaries and movesets. It's starting to get serious. I'm not sure what I can even continue at this rate. This stupid frontier, I'm over it. It's too tough. I'm on day like 99 or whatever and I'm not even halfway through it. You know what? How about you do it? I should have abused my owner powers and nerfed it before trying. I might not be able to do it, but you might be. Join me on PokeGalaxy on play.pokesaga.org. The Battle Frontier rewards are calling your name. And thank you guys for finally watching 200 days in Minecraft Pixelmon. I know this took super long to make, but I'm super busy and I've been really ill recently. So make sure you slap the bell and like the video if you did enjoy it. And make sure to subscribe below.